get loads of questions. Horrible accent. Don't judge me. I get loads of questions across all of my social media platforms, and so I have written them down and put them all in here. I've also um went on ChatGPT according to the topics that I get asked and had them curate some questions for me. So I'm going to pull from this mug for the next 15 to 20 minutes and answer the questions in this mug. Um that's it for right now. We'll worry about the rest later on, okay? Okay. I don't know. I'm not familiar with I'm not familiar with okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the way this is with lives on YouTube, so I don't really know how to tell you guys to engage with me or whatever the case may be. So I'm just gonna go. It is what it is. All right. First question. What has inspired you? Sorry. What inspired you to start writing poetry and how has it shaped your self-expression? Trauma. Trauma inspired me to write my poetry. Trauma, and I didn't know it at the time, but now that I'm older and I reflect back, it was emotions. I've always been empathic, but I didn't know it. And so emotions and feelings and all the things would hit me very intensely, and I didn't know what to do with them. And so I would write about them. And so that's how poetry helped me. And so it has definitely been a part of my coping. It's been a part of my healing. It has been a part of my processing. And now it is a big part of the way I get to express myself. It's the way I get to, it's like once I perform my poetry or once I share my poetry with the world, I have a new level of self-acceptance. And so expressing it is so important to me. And I aim to do more of that this year. So that is my answer for that question. I'm going to move on to the next one. Boop-a-doo. What role does forgiveness of yourself and others play in self-love? Very powerful. I had learned, I had learned self-love. I was developing self-love for the last, like, for about 2 years, 3 years. And it wasn't until I forgave, one, forgave my abusers, and two, forgave myself for, it's weird when you experience certain traumas, you blame yourself, even though, like, a lot of times you're a child and um you can't do anything to protect yourself. And so I had to forgive myself for not being able to protect myself as a child, and I had to forgive who abused me or who put me in those situations. And then I was able to really accept me for me, and love me and connect with me on a deeper level. Um, okay, that's nice. But yeah, so that was what worked for me. I'm gonna move on to the next question. Doo-doo-doo. How has having PCOS impacted your relationship with your body, and how have you worked through it? So for those of you who don't know, PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's a hormonal imbalance that can sometimes give you cysts on your ovaries and fibroids as well. And for me, it has made it challenging. It makes it challenging for different reasons. One, like, there's mood swings. Two, it can cause other health issues such as diabetes, fatty liver, um, irregular bowel syndrome, things of that nature. For me, I have an insulin resistance, and it makes it very challenging for me to lose weight, and it can make it very easy for me to get diabetes. And that's not so much of a challenge for me. I think the biggest thing is the weight, though, because I can work out a lot and not see a difference. And I think that that was an issue when I was looking at it as a way of, as a form of me working out to lose weight. When I started reframing my mindset and looking at working out as a way of me connecting with myself, as a way of me balancing my hormones, as a way of me loving myself, it was a lot easier for me to accept and love my body, because I wasn't doing it to change my body. I was doing it to accept my body. So the next question is, what inspired you to create pieces that encourage self-acceptance and confidence? My own personal journey, of course, is what inspired me to create pieces to encourage others. The reality is, a lot of us are out here suffering. A lot of us are crying ourselves to sleep, hurt, over past traumas, over current traumas, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of people in pain out there. And my goal is to, if I can help with a video, if I can help with an affirmation, if I can help with a piece of clothing that tells you to love you first or to love your body every step of the journey, then I want to do that. And so that is my goal. That is what encouraged me to start making clothing and start doing videos and start having my podcast and all the things. Next question. Okay. This one is, do you believe in intuition? I do. I wholeheartedly believe in intuition. I believe my intuition connects with my history, connects with my unconscious mind, connects with the Holy Spirit, and feeds into me and lets me know what I should and shouldn't do. I believe that it is so powerful, and that my goal is to connect with her regularly and let her guide me, and let her parent me, so that I can move in a way that's going to benefit me tremendously. So I am a big believer in intuition. I believe that when we move in a way that is not okay for our intuition, that is when, we're ignoring it. We're human. So some of us ignore red flags, and we ignore the signs that our intuition tells us to move forward in. All right. Did you go to school to learn what you know about creating oils and scrubs? No, I did not. I learned about a lot of holistic healing through my own journey for PCOS. I've always believed in finding a natural way to heal, so I try to find a tea for everything. And so that has taught me a lot about herbs, and sometimes like one ingredient will fall into my spirit, and then a recipe will develop the more I do research about that ingredient. For example, say I want to use rosemary for something, and then I start looking up what the ingredient means and how it benefits you, and then the rest of the recipe will form around it. And I just do a lot of research when it comes to that stuff. All right, let's see what's next. Can you share a story from a customer who connected deeply with your brand's message? I can share a story, but more so from my podcast and less from my clothing. And sometimes I feel like I don't realize how impactful the podcast can be, but I have received a message where some people, they really needed the message that I shared, and I don't like to go too much in detail. I allow people to open up to me at their own pace. But I do allow them to open up to me, and when they do open up to me, I do try not to share. So I will say I have experienced it, but I can't dive deep into it. But I am grateful for every ounce of feedback that I get. And I just allow it to fuel me, help me to keep going. It's got a little pile of questions over here. All right, let's see what's next. What is one piece of advice you would give someone starting their first small business? I would say start. It takes a while to develop and grow. And sometimes we get so caught up in the research that we have so much information that we don't know what to do with. And sometimes we talk ourselves out of it. and I like to jump. I like to jump because and I don't mean like in a way like jump, period. The knowledge will come, the guidance will come. There's so many programs out there that will help you to make sure that you have the right paperwork signed, the right insurance, and all the things. There's help out there. And so it's important to just trust yourself, trust your skill, and just go for it. And so that's the advice, that I would stop overthinking it. Research is great, but sometimes we overdo the research and we have so much information that we don't know what to do with it. So just go for it. Take the leap, baby. All right. What has been the most challenging shoot you've done, and how did you push through it? The most challenging shoot I did was most recently I did a shoot and I had my natural fro, and I was practically nude. And it was challenging for me because my hair natural, my favorite way to wear it is like this. But in a fro, it's shrunken and it's not commonly seen. And I love my fro, I do, but I don't feel as confident in my fro as I do if I have this hairstyle or some of my other hairstyles. And so it was challenging for me, but that was why I did it. That was the whole purpose of me doing that shoot, was for me to embrace that form of beauty, for me to embrace that form of beauty, but also to encourage other women to embrace that form of beauty. So I embraced my body and I embraced my hair that day. I embraced the two things that we get shamed a lot as Black women. You know, our hair in its most natural form, our body with its curves and rolls and dents and stretch marks and all the things. And I'm so proud of myself for pushing through that shoot, because it was challenging, but some beautiful art came out of it, some beautiful development, self-development came out of it, and I've gotten feedback from other women who feel empowered by it. So I'm glad that I pushed through the challenge and I did what I did. All right, so let's see what the next question is. Oops, upside down. What's your creative process for designing clothes that celebrate individuality? I usually get inspired when I go through something. I really try to use every situation as a lesson, as a silver lining, as something that I can use to help other people grow and develop. And so that's usually my process. And then once I have the message that I want to share, then that's when I get on Canva and I listen to music and I just let myself go. I just let myself be free and raw and just go for it. It's not, I don't really know if that's a process. It's like a healing process that I apply to my clothing. Next question. How can someone rebuild their confidence after being in a toxic relationship? I like to, one, look at my role in things. I like to look at my role in things. I like to reflect on what I allowed. I like to reflect on what is possibly true and what's not true about myself. I like to remind myself that his opinion of me is not a reflection of my worth. And I like to forgive myself for the one, the role that I played in the situation, two, for allowing the treatment that I allowed. And just after that, I just like to focus on why I allowed it. Why did I allow the toxic treatment? Why did I allow the relationship to go on for so long? Why did I allow these things? And that's where I start my healing. I start my healing there. Why did I allow these things? And then I try to develop an affirmation for it. And then I try to connect it to my history, to see where did it start and where, if it followed me. And so I believe that you can regain your confidence, but I believe that it takes work. It takes reflection. It takes looking in the mirror. It takes acceptance, accepting your role in things. It takes all of that. All right, let's see what's next in these questions. We're going to stop at 20 minutes. My little nose is running. I'm ready to get in the house and eat, baby. Okay. What's one piece of advice you'd give someone struggling to love their body, I would say start with the things you do love. I don't like my arms. I don't, but I've learned to accept them because I like my neck and I like my chest and I like my hourglass shape and I like my legs and I like my, so I focus on the things that I do like, and the rest of it, it's like a overflow. Um, I always encourage affirmations. They're always going to be an encouragement. I also encourage fitness, not fitness to change your body, but fitness to see what your body can do, to see how powerful your body is. And that will help you to love and accept your body. So whether that's yoga, whether that's dancing is so powerful, whether that's dancing, whether that's running, whether that's walking, whatever you can do to move your body so that you can learn to love and accept it, that's what you should do. All right. How do you handle negative self-talk, and what affirmations have you worked for you? For negative self-talk, the biggest thing is going to be, for every one negative thing you say 3 positives. That was what worked for me. Affirmations, I feel like what changed my negative self-talk was not so much a specific affirmation, but it was more so me saying affirmations to myself, me hearing myself say them. So it started with me saying them in the mirror, then it started with me recording them and listening to them often. Like if I'm washing the dishes or if I'm going on a walk or whatever, I'm listening to my voice, I'm listening to myself say all these positive, loving things about myself. And so it changed the way I speak to myself. It also changed the way I speak to others, because a lot of times when we speak to others, we're projecting how we feel about ourselves. We're projecting the way we speak to ourselves. And so it's important that we learn how to speak to ourselves in a loving, kind, nurturing way. And that's how I learned how to do it. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right, let's say 3 more minutes. What's a moment when you had to advocate for your worth in your career? I didn't have to advocate. I felt the need to advocate because I was minimizing myself and putting myself into assistant roles when I'm a leader. And I did that often. And I know that you can't always lead, but you can be a partner, so you can walk beside a person, not behind them, not beneath them. And there was a lot of times where I was behind them and beneath them when that wasn't my role. That wasn't where I was supposed to be. And so I would find myself trying to overwork or overdo things or little stuff like that, just to prove that I was worthy of being there, just to prove that I was worthy to be on the team. And I just had to have some real honest talks with myself and really think about what I wanted and what I want to do moving forward, and decide if that's where I wanted to be. And so that's what I did. All right. What is a commercial branding shoot? So I do commercial branding shoots. I connect with small businesses and I'll put together a mood board based off their needs and what we need to do for that photo shoot. Then I connect with a photographer. I have a photographer that I work with regularly, and she will do the shoot for us. Excuse me. And it will be unique visuals that are captivating and professional, that will drive customers' attention. And the goal is to get that attention converted into sales. And so that's what a commercial branding shoot is. Those are the commercial branding shoots that I do, that I run, that I coordinate, that I even do creative directing on if that's what's needed. What's next? What's next? What's next? This is probably the second to last question. How do you balance advocating for yourself in medical spaces while dealing with PCOS? This one it's a little challenging. People don't understand me wanting to be natural. It's also hard for people. One, when I first was diagnosed with PCOS, they thought I was tripping because I was so young. And I was like, no, I have an issue. And then they sent me to a specialist because I got put off 3 times. In high school, they said when I'm 18, my period will regulate itself. Once I got 18, I went to the doctor. They said I have irregular period syndrome. They put me on birth control. That did not work. Then I moved because my doctors were not willing to do anything extra. I moved to Vallejo. I told my doctor, she said, you're healthy, you're fine, but I'm going to send you to a specialist just so you have peace of mind. She sent me to that specialist. The specialist figured it out. And so it took a lot of advocating for myself. It took me listening to my gut, listening to my intuition, listening to what my body was telling me. And then that doctor taught me the natural way of healing. And I loved her for that, because I always wanted to go the natural route, but you always feel like you have to do what the doctor's telling you to do. And other doctors were not going to tell me to do the natural route. They were going to tell me to get on birth control. You know how I know that? Because when that doctor retired and I got a new doctor, what did she tell me to do? She put me on birth control. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been letting them know what I want for my body and what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do. And they kind of have to comply. It's my body. But it does take that advocating. It does take listening to yourself, listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to knowing what you want. And so that was the last question. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and send me some questions. If you have any questions about any of the topics I talked about, go ahead and ask me. If you have questions that you are already curious about from watching my podcast or any of my shorts, go ahead and send those to me as well. And let's grow this mug. Let's fill this mug up with some more questions. We got almost through all of them. So let's do that. Remember that you are worthy always. You are worthy of self-advocacy. You are worthy of being treated with respect. You are worthy of being treated with kindness. You are worthy of being treated with gentleness. You are worthy of self-love, unapologetic self-love, raw self-love, unconditional self-love. You are so, so worthy. You are so worthy. Until next time, my love. Bye-bye.